All right, great. Welcome, everyone. My name is Chris. I'll be our host for the hour, and welcome to the third episode of OUTtalks. We're so excited to have all of you here today, especially as this is the week where we launch our first ever virtual film festival as part of our 22nd edition of the OUTshine Film Festival. So super excited to hear all of you and see all of you here today. I see some friends already saying hi on the live stream there, so great to see you all there. We have such a great week ahead of us, starting to kick off this Thursday. We'll have our 22nd. We'll be kicking off our 22nd annual film festival, and we have some great films, documentaries, and shorts we want to share with you. And thank you so much for joining our very third topic here, where we'll be talking about transgender representation in LGBTQ and film. It's a really exciting panel. I'm really humbled and so excited with five really great speakers that we'll have here today. So before I introduce them, I of course wanted to again remember to join us for our opening night festival. This is a drive out experience starting on and we will be showing films all the way through August the 30th. Again, this is part of the 22nd OUTshine LGBTQ plus film festival. We'll be running the 20th to the 30th, and be part of our experience. As part of the experience, we'll be showing over 80 plus various films in 44 unique screenings. And we'll have great interactive sessions with events, as well as filmmakers and talent, and live Q&As over those great 11 days. So I'm throwing this in here, but of course I want to send out a special shout out to our incredible lead, Victor, along with our staff, Alexis, David, Allison, Joe, and Steve, who we wouldn't have totally reimagined what we're doing here. It's this whole virtual concept. A special thanks to our executive board, Mark, Ebony, and Jen out there, as well as our full board, our staff, our sponsors, as well as our members and our donors. Much for all of your work that you do here. Great. So we're going to start to bring in our panelists. Again, we have a really exciting group of men and women who will be joining us here. As I'll bring them in one by one, and then they'll have a little chance to talk about themselves. So first, are we going to go ahead and bring in Lucia Lucas, please?
Hi.
Hey, Lucia. So I'm going to give a brief introduction to you, and then I'll ask a couple questions. You can tell us a little bit about yourself. So Lucia Lucas is opera singer and subject of our documentary, The Sound of Identity. You've been hailed as one of the most powerful and beautiful baritone voices singing on the operatic stage today, a repertoire ranging from Mozart, Verdi to Wagner. I think I was really struck by the quote of you, I think in an interview with Ari Shapiro on NPR, really describing yourself as the real deal when it comes to your voice and your talent. So I know you're currently living in Germany, and I guess I would say your voice type is it dramatic baritone or operatic baritone? So great. So would love to hear from you. Just to tell us first of all your I guess preferred pronoun, what city you're calling us in from, and maybe tell us something fun, whether it's how you're staying in COVID or something fun for us.
Sure. She, her, hers. And I'm coming to you from Karlsruhe, Germany, which is about an hour south of Frankfurt on the fast train. And something fun. I started doing this wild metabolic balance diet during the quarantine. And I've lost like 30 pounds, and I'm actually enjoying the food on the diet.
Okay, great. What kinds of food does that entail?
It's like instead of eating cow's milk or yogurt, I have like sheep yogurt and goat's milk, and I don't know. There's lots of milk products here. So
okay. Very good. And maybe one last question before we bring her next. Tell us the importance of being on a panel about trans representation in film. What does that mean to you?
Oh, I think it's important to move the discussion from just the villain or the victim narrative that has been in the media for so long. We are people just like anybody else, and good and bad, and all sorts of different attributes that are way more important than us being trans.
Awesome, great. Well, we'll hold plenty more from you. We'll even see a clip of your movie, or your film rather. But next, let's go ahead and bring in Grace. Grace Mead, please.
Hey, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Grace. Thanks so much. So, Grace, a little bit to tell our viewers about you. I have a little bit of a bio, and then I'll ask you a couple quick questions to get things going. So, really impressive series of pedigree degrees I see from Dartmouth as well as University of Chicago Law School. You're a shareholder in the litigation department at Stern Weaver Miller here in Miami. And you've received several honors, including from the South Florida Business Journal, Business and Pride, Outstanding Voices honoree, Benchmark Litigation for, I guess, Top Women in Litigation. And as if that's not enough, it looks like you are also an author. Will you tell us a little bit about your book that's out there?
It is about a closeted gay lawyer in New Orleans in 2007, and he's attacked in an alley behind a gay club. He kills one of his attackers, and after chapter 1, it gets interesting.
Good. Well, leave us wanting more. Leave us wanting more for sure. In addition, it looks like we have some great board services of Aqua Foundation for Women, Miami-Dade Urban League, as well as the National Association of Urban Debate Leagues, rather. Great. So I'll ask a couple similar questions that I just did to Lucia. Tell us, I think you already have it on your screen, but just your preferred pronoun.
She, her.
Great. Okay. And tell us what city you're calling in from, and tell us one fun thing you've been doing to stay sane during COVID.
I'm here in Miami, and I have taken Zoom stand-up classes and was able in my first routine to lead with, in the last 6 weeks, J.K. Rowling has accused me of creating a climate of fear and inducing justifiable terror. I'm obviously very scared.
We are too. Great. And then just one last thing. Tell us tell us what's your interest in being on a panel to discuss trans representation in film?
Well, actually, in speaking of my life experience, I bracketed it with movies to put in context to people what the cultural environment was like at the time. So Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, or Silence of the Lambs, to name some of the worst. And so I think it is an incredibly important shared cultural background that we all have. And there are stories that change people's minds. So
Great. Well, thanks so much. Grace, so I think we're going to go ahead and bring in our next speaker. We have Arianna Lint, please. Hi, Arianna. I think I have you on mute, but I'm going to first do a nice warm welcome, and I'll let you talk. We'll ask you a couple of questions. So I think Arianna, for those who don't know, I think no one says it better than there's this wonderful piece that that was written by you, by Giselle, I think Balito in Americano, telling the story about you going to law school in Peru, and that when the professor first reprimands you for your voice, calling you a very nasty word that starts with M. I don't know if I can say it over YouTube, but your response was just so defiant and beautiful that basically with the crux of what the professor was saying is that there's no room for gay people in the law in Peru. And you said, well, if there's no room, then I'm going to be the first out gay lawyer in Peru. And I thought that was just really incredible. It must be really telling of your story. Fast forward many years, you are the executive director of Arianna Center, which does education, mentoring for services with HIV and AIDS. Just a truly wonderful organization that does incredible work here. You do public speaking and really the front lines of our movements of trans equality. So we're so proud and so happy to have you here today. I see you've already answered my first question as far as, what is your pronouns? So we have she, her, hers, and Aya. But also maybe just to have some fun, like tell us something fun or surprising that you learned during COVID, during the quarantine time.
Well, in the COVID-19 era, and before I want to say thank you to these panelists and the whole group of people in this panel. And I'm very proud transgender woman. Latina, and I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And as a Latina, I like to cook. So in the COVID-19, I developed my cooking lessons in Spanish, and I love, because Peruvian food is one of the most wonderful foods in the world. So that's what I'm getting few pounds, but I'm happy because I'm developing my chef.
Wonderful. We know whose house to go over for dinner tonight then. Socially distanced though. Great. Thank you so much, Arianna. And then I guess next we'll go ahead and bring in Thiessa.
Hello.
Hi, Thiessa. Hey, so we have Thiessa Weinbach on here now. Thiessa, I'm just going to give a quick little update about you, then we'll ask you a couple quick questions to get things going. So it looks like you were born in the state of Goiás in central Brazil.
Yes.
Interesting, it looks like you have a minor in biology as well as being in the theater group. You're currently looks like you're living in Sao Paulo, where you're a trans rights activist, as well as publishing YouTube videos on civil rights, beauty, and the importance of self-acceptance. And then you're making, I believe, it's your film acting debut in the film Valentina, which we're so honored to have in our film festival this year. Great. So maybe just to tell us a little bit about yourselves, tell us why you think is the importance of transgender representation in film, and why would you want to be in a panel like we're having today?
First, thank you. And I think it's really important for us, our community, because when you are a transgender child or young, you need to see representation, and this is very important because you can see that it's okay with who you are, you know. There's no problem, even if the world says it's a problem, but it's not, and it's really important.
Great, that's beautiful. And tell us anything fun you've been doing to keep your mind from going crazy during COVID-19. I know it's kind of tough in Brazil, right?
Yes, I've been taking time with my dogs. I have 3 dogs, and I keep playing with them and watching movies and series. And Brazil, it's really hard in this case because our president doesn't care about lives, but we're trying to keep mental safe, right? And taking time with my boyfriend too, and that's it.
Okay, amazing, great.
Thank
It
you.
looks like we have Jessica Bymus saying a little, giving you some love out there. So thank you so much there.
Oh, that's
And
cute.
last but not least, let's bring on Aaron Phoenix, please.
Hey everybody.
Hey, Aaron. Great. So for our audience, hey, good to see you. So for our audience, Aaron is a genderqueer Mexican American writer, speaker, and activist. He organized the protest action group Out and Loud, Florida, and in 2016, working in close partnership with Black Lives Matter in Tampa, specifically to combat stigmas and violence against transgender, queer people of color, and advocate for LGBTQ plus youth. And he's currently the host of the world's most popular live gay TV show, It's Happening Out. So, Aaron, I have just a couple questions. I realized, Thiessa, I didn't ask you, what is your preferred pronoun you prefer to go by?
Mine?
Yes.
She, her.
Okay, great. And Aaron, what are your preferred pronouns?
Mine are he and him.
Great, okay. And just tell us, Aaron, a little bit about your interest and why do you think the importance of trans representation in films today?
Sure. I think, trans representation in everything is so important right now, especially because we've got this kind of surge of visibility and not a lot of awareness actually coming along with it. So, last week, I think it was Timothy Barber on your show on the OUTtalks last week said something about, in order to change the narrative, we have to change the narrators. And I think the most important thing we can do right now in this time in our climate, our cultural climate, is to tell our stories. So I'm excited to do more of that.
Great. I see. Just one last thing, and not to after this, I promise I won't be stealing the spotlight. But I see David has asked me to tell a little bit about same question for me. So my name is Chris. I'm been a part of the OUTshine Film Festival for about 4 years now. I serve as our treasurer. As well as planning just being a great sounding board for the festival. I promise I won't bore you with any like accounting or finance questions about our organization. Maybe I'll slip in a couple jokes. But yeah, so for my why my interest in participation is in a panel discussion on transgender representation in film. I mean, I've been involved with the festival, like I said, for many years. I think it's such an important story that we tell. I think that and actually, the very first film I saw with the film festival was a story of a transgender woman. And I've seen over the years the need, but also our process of increasing the number of films that we include on the subject in our film festival. And I just think it's really, really important to tell everyone's stories. And I want to be an advocate and a part of that. And it's an honor to be part of this panel with really just wonderful, talented people. So without further ado, I think, David, we're going to go ahead and kick off and show a video from our digital media sponsor for the OUTshine LGBTQ Film Festival. It's happening Out Television.
One of the hospitals in our town convened a meeting among the cardiac docs because they were trying to...
The Mueller report is nothing. No collusion, nothing. No obstruction. He did nothing wrong.
This is breaking news as we speak. The class action lawsuit has been filed today against Google and YouTube.
Well, this has been the most amazing Pride weekend I've ever seen anywhere in the country.
There is someone on this cast that I am willing to make out with right now if I had to.
I would make out with Chef Joseph. Women are good kissers. I'm sorry.
Who would you make out with?
Aaron. I have you guys all by numbered, actually. We go down the line.
Let's go right down the line.
With our host panel, lifestyle expert Napoleon Plays, trans activist Aaron Phoenix, reality star Chef Josie, DJ Diva Power Infinity, and our moderator Al Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Great. Well, thanks so much. And thanks for being our sponsors. Again, it's happening Out Television. So I think we're going to move right into our program now. So we're going to go ahead and show our first trailer, My Father, Marianne.
Tycker att det är lite konstig stämning med mamma och pappa.
Pappa, Hanna tror att du har en älskarinna som heter Marianne. Ska ni skiljas?
Det är inget sånt alls.
Det kommer gå väldigt dåligt för mig om jag blir skilsmässbarn. Jag har vad man skulle kunna kalla en kvinnlig sida. Det här är någonting som jag har känt hela livet. Marianne, det är jag.
Du förstår att folk i den här stan pratar, va?
Om man nu vill komma ut så är det en jättestark historia. Ämnet är superviktigt.
Jag menar bara att det kanske gäller riktiga transpersoner. Inte min pappa som har en 60-årskris.
Är ni lesbiska nu?
Jag är inte lesbisk.
Handlar det här mer om att känna sig rädd? Vill pappa Marianne?
Han är mycket lyckligare nu. Jag känner inte Marianne.
Jag är rädd att förlora er allihop.
Du är min bästa vän.
Var hela min barndom bara en lögn?
Jag är din pappa och det kommer jag alltid att vara.
Är du en transa eller?
Vi behöver alla kärlek. När någon ser oss och älskar oss för den vi är, då kan äntligen det där sanna livet börja.
Så länge han inte köper motorcykel och dejtar konfirmander så tror jag man får vara rätt nöjd.
All right. So I guess this is the first film, the only one clip that we don't actually have a talent from, but I'll go ahead and ask a couple questions. So and for all the panelists, this is really your time. So if I don't call on you, or if you want to jump in or ask another question yourself, we certainly invite that as well. So my first question, and I'd like to pose this to Grace, Arianna, and Aaron. And Grace, you kind of hit on this in your introductory remarks, but when did you first recognize yourself in film, TV, or media, and kind of walk us through what that meant for you? I'll start with Grace.
Well, I did not, in the sense that the people I identified with were cisgendered women. I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana, was born in the 1970s to date myself. And I remember the Jerry Springer show. And if you go on YouTube, they have actually sanitized a lot of that. But it was this very dramatic reveal, and then violence ensued. Silence of the Lambs. It was a psychopath who talked. And Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and there were rounds of vomiting. So it, and when and where I grew up, there were no openly transgender people. There were very few openly gay people. No people who were out as gay when I was in high school. Some have since come out. So it really wasn't even until I moved to New York at age 25 that I had any close gay friends. So the short answer is it didn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Same question for Arianna. What do you think? When did you first recognize yourself in film, TV, or media? Or if it hasn't happened, then that's also okay as well. Arianna, do you hear me? Can you hear us? So we're curious, Arianna, when you thinking of film, TV, or media, walk us through kind of when you first recognized yourself in any of those mediums. I think you're on mute, Arianna. Here, we'll fix your volume there. I'll pass off the same question to Aaron. Aaron, can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself? Great, Aaron, you're good to go.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
We are good.
Cool. Yeah, cool. So, geez, I grew up at the time that I was kind of figuring myself out. I was growing up in South Carolina as part of a Latino Catholic family. So I had a lot of preconceived notions, just like anybody else, I guess, of kind of what it even meant to be gay. And I remember thinking my whole childhood that all lesbians wanted to be men. So because that was kind of the stereotype, if you will, that was fed to me, was that, you know, I feel like if you're a quote unquote woman who wants to be a man, that's what a lesbian is. Right. So I spent a lot of my teenagehood, you know, really trying to make that fit. And of course it never did. I remember watching The L Word obsessively, trying to kind of figure out which lesbian I was going to identify with and what kind of lesbian that was going to, you know, resonate with me. And of course that didn't really happen. By the time I saw a trans man or a trans masculine person in any kind of film was a Logo documentary. I believe it was called Gender Rebel. And I want to say 18 or 19 years old when I found it, and was like, oh my God, trans men exist. I didn't even know that was a thing. You know, I knew about trans women, you know, same way a lot of our other panelists did via, you know, the jokes and media and things like that. But even when I worked with my first, you know, friend who was a transgender woman, it never really clicked with me that a transgender man could be a possibility as well. So it wasn't really until that movie that just immediately opened my eyes and turned the light bulb on for me, and it was kind of no turning back from there.
Great, that's amazing. It's amazing. We'll give Arianna one more shot. Arianna, do you hear us? Give it a thumbs up or thumbs down if you hear us. Let's see. Oh, she's working on it. Okay, Arianna, don't worry. We will pick you up with a couple more questions. But in the meantime, I think we're going to go ahead and show our next trailer. And this is about our friend Lucia.
The greatest musical instrument that there is actually alive. They are born and they live and they die.
My name is Lucia Lucas. I've been singing opera my entire adult life.
When you're on stage, you're inhabiting cisgendered male roles. And when you're off stage, you're a trans woman. How have you navigated that?
I always have to remember why I'm here. And I'm here to do this show. And here, on the stage.
No trans singers ever performed Don Giovanni anywhere in the world.
We're not doing anything traditional here.
If people don't come, if there's silent backlash, maybe I'll even have to resign.
Opera has been dying for 400 years, basically, almost since it was born.
What is the biggest problem with opera right now? Having less and less audience. How do you fix that? You get new audience. I know for sure that there are LGBT people who are going to come to the opera, who have never come to an opera. Okay.
I'm gonna go to see you.
You should. It's my show. It's called Don Giovanni. Yeah. If there wasn't the story of how I came out, then of course there would be less press.
Some people buy things for the package. That's marketing.
I hope I've not presented this as any kind of a freak show.
The bigger my star gets, the more pressure it is to deliver all the time. If we sold out, do you think that maybe it could be because you took a risk?
Well, I'll certainly take full credit for it, yes.
Trans is such a small part of my identity. I am trying to do art that I think is interesting no matter who you are. I want them to feel.
Wow, what a great film. So I guess the question is, did you guys sell out that audience, Lucia?
The house is actually really, really big, so we did not completely sell out. But we had a larger than expected.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's amazing opera too. I'll ask you a couple questions about sort of like I saw parts of that some stories about that showing in Tulsa, and especially the character you're playing. I guess Don Giovanni is supposed to be this very hyper sort of masculine, womanizing character, and I think you brought some interesting color about your own personal life and kind of playing that role. But kind of tell us a little bit about whether you think it's like a juxtaposition, kind of playing the two, or like what's it like doing that type of role, especially as a transgendered woman.
Sure. Playing masculine roles is, I don't know, maybe at least 80% of what I do, because I do sing baritone, and this style of baritone that I have is a lot of older aggressive men.
The villain, right?
Yeah, the villain. It just sort of goes with my voice. But yeah, I learned how to do this sort of masculine actions when I was growing up, and so now I only act on stage, and I don't have to act off stage.
Gotcha.
So.
And how does that feel like in your, I guess, once you get off stage and you go back to your personal life, how do you make that, transition? Is it instant, like flip the switch, or is it? I think we have a little bit of feedback there.
Sorry, let me try one thing real quick.
No problem at all.
Is this better?
Let's try talking. I think it's a little bit better.
Okay, great. I don't know what's going on. Can you ask that one more time?
Yeah, sure. So what's like the transition like going from your stage role going back to like, your real life, like what does that feel for you?
Usually it takes 30 minutes to an hour for them to put on the makeup. So it's sort of a process of watching all the makeup sort of come onto my face. And I just sort of inhabit that character. And at the end, I wash it all off and live my life.
Great. And one last question: how was it making the film? It looks like it's mostly focused on that one production in Tulsa.
Yeah, this was all filmed within about 3 to 4 weeks.
Great. Okay. Well, we can't wait to see the full feature. Great. So I want to go ahead and open up a question as well to, let's see, Arianna, I'm hoping we have you because we definitely want to hear from you. Arianna, can you hear me? Can you talk and say hi if you're there? Hello?
Yes.
Great. Perfect. We got you now. So I would just say the question, I'll also put it out to Aaron as well. But being a transgender person, how does LGBTQ plus film help shape a shared sense of identity? Or does in different parts of this country or even around the world, does that mean different things? But so how does it help with shaping identity for and how can film be a vehicle for that?
To me?
Yes.
Well, I think it's very important to have the visibility of the transgender individuals in the film, and also the gender who I represent, the trans Latinas, right, and the histories of the people. I think in the LGBT community, transgender have a good opportunity because the histories of the transgender is something unique for other communities, and maybe they can understand our life and our belief and how we live. And I think it's very important to present all the identities in the transgender community. And the transgender community, no, we just have the beauty queen. We not just have the transgender who they are skinny or fat. We are we have a different bodies and we are different perspectives, and all we are transgender. So I think it's very important to present the visibility of all the transgender, and also as a You Equal You ambassador, I think it's very important to visibilize the transgender community and the HIV who impact the life of the transgender community in high rates.
Great. That's a big part of the work that you do. Can you, Arianna, could you tell us a little bit, maybe a special project or anything that you're working on right now that's along those lines?
Yeah, sure. Right now we are, in 2020, we start getting services in Puerto Rico, or provide services in Puerto Rico. And we partner with the University of Puerto Rico in developing the first transgender need assessment for the Puerto Rican people, because it's very important for the whole transgender community, not just have the visibility, but have a data. What is we don't have too much data in the transgender community. So one of the tools for us is create our own data. We developing in Miami in 2018 about the data, what we have in Miami, especially for the transgender community. So we really know, we really complementing the data with our histories, our personal histories. And specifically, if we're talking about HIV and AIDS, right? If we figure out Miami and Broward, they are the first and the second place in new HIV diagnostic for many years, is something because we have to do something better when treat vulnerable communities as transgender community.
Great, very good. Great. So let's go ahead and put it down. So we'll have more questions down the road, but let's go ahead and show our next trailer for Valentina so we can then get some questions to Tiesa. So let's look at our next trailer, please.
Valentina, posso te fazer uma pergunta?
Claro.
Por que a sua família veio pra cá?
Na verdade, veio eu e minha mãe.
Claro, posso prato, dona Vânia.
Essas coisas que eu encontro na minha frente.
Algum problema, Valentina?
Ainda não. Mas eu queria contar uma coisa pra vocês. Eu não nasci menina.
Você domina todos os meus pensamentos e eu não nego que eu quero envolvimento, vai. Você domina todos os meus pensamentos e eu não nego que eu quero envolvimento, vai.
Qual que é o maior medo que você tem na vida?
O maior medo? Acho que é nunca mais encontrar meu pai.
All right, what a good film. Looking film there. So Tiesa, tell us a little bit about the film, the process, anything. I think this was, I believe this was your first feature-length film, right? Tiesa, I'll meet you. Hey, I think we still have Tiesa on mute, so maybe I'm, hello? Here, let's see if we can hear you there. Can you try saying something, a noise? Hello? Okay, we're gonna get David. We'll take a look at getting the audio set up, but I'll ask a couple questions. We'll come right back to you. So so I guess I have a couple questions. We'll come back. I promise. Yes, we definitely want to hear from you and how the film was. So, are you back? All right. I guess we'll keep going. So we wanted to ask a question about you know, stories are important in affecting world relationships and how movie can change society. And then I was wondering, just to pretty much for everyone who wants to jump in, but I'll be able to start with Grace. Like, has there been a way that with film or TV that's been able to actually change kind of your life and your relationship with people, especially when it comes to transgender and transgender people?
I think that it's the show I most frequently recommend to people, which is Pose. And it's as much the story of Janet Mock, who is executive producing and directing and writing and acting, as it is the women who are the centerpiece of Pose. But I have many, many gay male friends in New York. And so, you know, that's kind of their environment in a bit. And I have many friends in New York, and all my friends not in New York have heard of New York. And I just think it's done marvelous work at humanizing transgender people, because we are human.
Right. It's about making that connection in a way. If there's something that someone is familiar with, and then they can kind of teach them then about the next step, of maybe something they're not familiar, but making that connection point that makes it easier for folks. I think that's good. It's always good. Maybe the same question to Aaron. So basically, what do you think? How has film or TV or any way that's, you know, done a good job of depicting transgender people? How's it helped you in your own personal life? And we have you on mute. So let's go ahead and unmute you for a second.
There we go.
Great, we hear you.
So yeah, I think that logo documentary, Gender Rebels, when I was a kid, really 18 or 19, it did a good job of kind of introducing me to the idea that there was a spectrum of gender. and that there are people who kind of fall in between the male and female, duality that we live in. So it really it was a gateway to open my eyes to a lot more of the world and a lot more of the possibilities of what it means to be human and to be trans specifically. I remember after watching that documentary, going to my local library and looking up every single documentary or short film or anything that I could find remotely related to transgender people. And it was before then and since then, it's been kind of a search for, I think even still today, a search to find people like me in film. We are finally starting to see this surge of visibility of trans men and trans women, but it is still very much focused on the binaries, people who are hypermasculine or hyperfeminine, especially when it comes to trans men. The trans men that you see represented, especially in the gay or the umbrella LGBT world or media, is very much like Arianna was saying before, the skinny, white, fit, athletic, that sort of idea of what a man should be. And these problematic sort of stereotypes end up getting pushed onto us, just like they do when it comes to trans women, when it comes to men and women, cis men and women. These things continue to kind of have these ripple effects. So I think today, in 2020, I'm still, in a way, kind of searching for these groundbreaking, pioneer new films and new media outlets that will show people who are like me, who live in between, who are genderqueer, and who don't necessarily fit into these other boxes. And so I don't say that to be pessimistic. I say that to be, just aware and very hopeful that we're we're kind of on the edge of this brave new world. And I'm excited to see kind of how we branch out from there. Eventually there will be so much representation that we'll get to kind of critique freely and be able to pick favorites and least favorites. Right now we're so thirsty for representation as non-binary trans people that we'll take almost anything we can get. Right. And so, it's opening the conversation though, and it's super important.
Right. It sounds like there'll be some probably, I would say, implicit growing pains as we go through that process. But yeah, I think you're right, for sure. Yeah. Tiesa, are you back with us? Can you say hi? See if we can hear you. Hello? Tiesa, can you say something so we can see if we can hear you now? Tiesa, do you hear us? I think we still don't have Tiesa quite there. So, we do hear you, Tiesa. We hear you, Tiesa. Tiesa, do you hear me? Tiesa? No. Tiesa, we hear you. If you don't hear us.
Tiesa, fala.
Okay. Well, Tiesa, we'll hopefully get you back there in a second. We do want to hear you.
Hey.
So hey, there we are. Great. Okay, you hear us. We're talking to you. Tiesa, so we're gonna rewind backwards a second and talk about your film. So tell us a little bit about what it was like making the film. Oh, we lost her. Okay, so hopefully we'll get her back. I think I know we're getting close to the hour, so let's go ahead and I guess we have an announcement on some of our trans shorts program, and I think we've got some visuals for that to show. Can you hear us there? I think we have some visuals. Okay, there we go. Great. So, I'll tell us a little bit. So it's our free community screening. It's reasons for offering that. And we have we have 5 different shorts, including Making Samantha, Vuelta El Sol, Goodbye Rebecca and Eileen, Krishna, as well as Butterflies in Berlin. So really exciting shorts program, really definitely great to showcase some great transgender films. So overall, I know, Grace, I know you may have to leave with us soon. So just any thoughts on the trailers or excited about the film festival? I know you've been a member, so any thoughts, parting thoughts you have for us?
No, I mean, I'm thrilled to see the arc of increased representation year after year. I can't help but contrast it to in 2015, I began presenting authentically for the first time in New York, and I went to a theater in Lincoln Square, and there was a film with a transgender woman, and I'm sitting there not knowing if I'm passing, to use an old term. I'm old, if 2015 wasn't that long ago. And the audience was laughing, and not kindly. And, you know, we are there. You know, you may not see us at all times, but we are there. And then to fast forward to be on a panel like this, I don't think I would have believed you if you told me it would happen 4 or 5 years ago. So thank you, and keep doing the good work.
Great. We'll see you at the festival too.
Absolutely.
I'll shoot the same question over to Tiesa. Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Oh,
sorry.
finally. Okay, no problem, no problem. Maybe first to react.
Everything going.
No
What?
problem. Yeah, tell us a little. No problem, no problem. We're just glad to have you back. So maybe first tell us a little bit about your film that you're in. Now that we have you.
Yes, this is my first film, and Valentina is a young transgender. She has 17 years old, and she's moving to a smaller city with her mother and her father. I don't know where he is, and he disappeared. And when she's going to go in a new school, she needs her father to sign a paper, which she can use her social name. And where is her father? No one knows, and that's the trick of the movie.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's really important because I think when young transgender see this movie, I think they can see that it's okay with who you are, and you have the strength to face it. And the how can I say that, it's okay with who you are, you know. It doesn't need to be sad or be with all the people saying you're not a girl, you're not, but you are. And that's important. And she has the support of her mother, that it's really important, because we know a lot of transgender there hasn't the support of our parents, and that's so really important.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think it's so telling that there's so many different stories, and every time we see more and more film, there's just so many stories to be told. And like you said, it doesn't have to be sad. It doesn't have to be these stories of that I think what used to be so small, but now it's really broadening, and as people understand, and they have a hunger not for things that you know, like Grace was saying, that either ridicule or mock, which is obviously so sad and inappropriate, but stuff that actually really authentically tells a story and really gets us to acquainted with people's lives that are different or the same as us, you know. So great. I know we're just about the hour, but I just would love to also hear maybe, I know Lucia, we haven't talked a lot to you, but like any other thoughts you have on the films, and we showcase any of your reactions, and oh, we'll have you on mute. We're going to unmute you. Uh-oh. David, can we unmute her? Or is she, is Lucia? Okay, I think, okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's so great to see all these wonderful varied films. For me, that is the important thing, is to see such varied representation, and not from the most simple, you know, basic understanding of trans people, but to go so far beyond, because we are so individual, just as anybody else in the community. It's just a very small part of our identity, and it's wonderful because every single representation in film or anywhere is another representation, and it's another look at a complex person living their lives.
And maybe the same question just to Tiesa as well. Any reactions to
What
the
was
film?
the question?
It's just reactions to the films. I know that we have one that just was yours, but any other reactions or anything else you want to say?
Did you understand?
Any other reactions to the films that we're showing as part of our film festival, or any besides, we have three things that we showcased already. Any of your own personal reactions to the films that you saw?
My first
Yes.
reaction?
Any reactions? Any thoughts on the films? Like, what do you think?
Você entendeu? I think first of all, I'm so excited for everything that's happening to Valentina because I have a special como eu falo carinho? A special feeling, and I think everyone will love it and will cry too, because there's a lot of hard scenes, and it was really hard to sobre os outros trailers.
Okay, we'll get Tiesa back hopefully. Arianna, how about you? Any reactions to the films that you saw today, or do you think we're kind of changing where kind of how we tell stories of transgender lives in film? Any reactions that you have?
No, I think all the representations and the media and the film about transgender history is welcoming and is educational also. It's very important for our educational part. We have to just remember many of the people in other communities, they don't know nothing about transgender. So it's a role of the all histories of transgender becoming at the field and highlight the histories. I think is very impressed. Highlight the Brazilian community in one movie, right? Because if we are not in the field, Brazil is one of the most discriminatory and difficult countries for a transgender have a quality of life. So I think it's very important to highlight all the communities, all the life, the histories of transgender, and especially the good histories and the successful histories, because transgender community is a very resilient community.
Great. And then maybe Aaron, any final thoughts you have, and then before we start to wrap up thoughts, whether it's about the films we're showing today or anything, maybe questions that you want to share with us or thoughts.
Sure. Yes, as I was kind of thinking over, what we would talk about today and everything, it kind of dawned on me that all of the representation that I could think of trans people in general throughout my life really focuses so much more on the effect that it has, the effect that transgender people have on other people by transitioning, by living authentically. It's so much more, it seems to have been so much more focused on how hard it is for everyone else for us to be who we are. And so I'm really excited to see kind of a shift in that narrative, where now we're talking about these stories through our eyes, and really seeing a different side, or seeing what to us is not the different side, but is the real side of our lives and our stories, and how complex they are, and how complex these issues that we face are, and how at the end of the day, we are following our passions, whatever those might be. Lucia, there was a line in the trailer for your film that you said, "I'm just trying to do art." And that struck me really, really deep, because I feel that, it doesn't always matter what these labels are, what these boxes are that society has tried to put us in. At the end of the day, some of us are just trying to do art, or just trying to write, or just tell our stories, or whatever it is. And so it's really cool to see that kind of start to art imitate life, and vice versa, as the world progresses and as the conversation progresses, to be able to see the movies progress as well, and see these movies get more three-dimensional and more complex.
Wow. Yeah, that's an amazing way to kind of give us a wrap, unless anyone has so many parting words. Anyone? Great. So I have a couple things I did want to remind our viewers of. So remember that we do have a kind of a special promo to if you want to win free tickets to see 3 feature films or any of these films that we've seen. There's 3 ways you can see it, such as My Father Marianne, The Sound of Identity, or Valentina, or receive an Out Pass, which is good for 6 free films during the virtual film festival. So for our viewers here, to make that clear, so we have a kind of like to enter to win these 2 subscriptions. You need to subscribe to our YouTube channel, sign up to our YouTube list by midnight tonight. It's located in the About section of our website. And that's it. That's easy enough. So again, remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as sign up for our YouTube email list by tonight, by midnight, and you'll automatically be entered into a chance to win one of these passes. And if you enjoyed watching the films from your home today, and especially those that are on the listening here that are if you identify as a transgender, and enjoy seeing that representation in LGBTQ plus film, we really want you to be part of our family and part of what we're doing here in the experience, especially what we're doing in the virtual film festival. We're trying something really brand new this go around, and it's amazing to see, just because of the sort of world forces in place because of COVID, that we've just had to kind of reinvent ourselves, like so many institutions out there. So definitely be a part of our this really amazing experience that we're going to have, again, kicking off this Thursday. And of course, we'll always take and cherish any donation. So please make sure, buy a ticket for yourself, buy a ticket for your friend, and enjoy a great film festival. So I really want to thank all of our panelists. I know some of you are dropping off, but thank you so much for everyone, to Lucia, to Arianna, to Aaron. Yes, I think we lost it a little bit ago. Then, of course, Grace. It was amazing. I'm super inspired. I feel like they just have so much to look up to, and the amazing work that you're doing in your lives. I'm so thankful. And I know on behalf of so many people, we're so thankful for what you're doing and just being yourselves, and also just being here. So thank you so much for that.
For having us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Last but not least, a couple upcoming events. Again, Thursday the 20th is the big day for our big drive out experience. Next Tuesday, on August 25th, we'll have our 4th episode of OUTshine OUTtalks. We're talking about Latinx representation in LGBTQ plus film. And then don't forget about our Wednesday, August 26th. It will be our centerpiece film and virtual soiree, featuring a really great film. It's called the Italian drama called The Goddess of Fortune, as well as there'll be live music, not food from our behalf, food from your homes for sure, entertainment, and other fun surprises. So definitely not to be a missed event. Great, and I think that's it for us. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at our virtual film festival. Thanks so much.
Hospitals in our town convened a meeting among the cardiac docs because they were trying.
The Mueller report is nothing. No collusion, nothing. No obstruction. He did nothing wrong.
This is breaking news as we speak. The class action lawsuit has been filed today against Google and YouTube.
Well, this has been the most amazing Pride weekend I've ever seen anywhere in the country.
There is someone on this cast that I am willing to make out with right now if I had to.
I would make out with Chef Josie. Women are good kissers. I'm sorry.
Who would you make out with?
Aaron. I have you guys all by numbered, actually. We go down the line.
Let's go right down the line.
With our host panel, lifestyle expert Napoleon Plays, trans activist Aaron Phoenix, reality star Chef Josie, DJ D-Bell